Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Patty and I'm starting a channel called Low FODMAP Foodie. I'm starting this channel because about a year ago I was diagnosed with ibs-d and I had to do major dietary modifications in order to help my gut and my digestive system. So it took a lot of work, but I think I've finally come to a diet that is very suitable for me, and I wanted to share a lot of my tips, not only shopping, but cooking, researching, so that I can help other people also navigate this complicated food map. I feel that everything is gluten-free or peanut-free or sodium concerned, and dining in restaurants is very challenging when you can't have garlic and you can't have onion and you're not supposed to have celery and etc., etc. So my first step was picking up a cookbook that tells you all about the FODMAPs and what they are and kind of how to navigate the complicated dietary system. And it's definitely been very informative for me, and so I would recommend this book highly. It's kind of become my food Bible. Today I'm going to be doing one of my all-time favorite recipes that's very simple, because if you're like me, you don't want to spend hours in the kitchen with your busy schedules trying to put together meals. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my carrots. I happen to like fresh organic carrots from the market with the greens on them, but you can use baby carrots, you can use whatever kind of carrots you want. I just find these very flavorful. And I'm going to go over and wash some of the carrots and then peel them and dice them. In preparation for steaming, I like to steam them, but there's other ways you can do it as well. If you want to roast them in the oven, however you want to do it, it's just to make sure you do it plain with, no garlic, no onion, no celery, none of that, because that's all high FODMAP, of course. I'm doing this for a family of 3, so I'm going to wash and peel 4 large carrots. And I always like to use my veggie wash when doing so. And so now I've washed my carrots. I'm going to bring them over here. If you have really good quality ingredients, you're not going to need all that extra seasoning and all that extra salt and everything, because you're going to find your ingredients are flavorful on their own. And I'm just using a simple peeler to peel off the outer skin. Of course, if you're using baby carrots, it's even more of a time saver, because those are already peeled, washed, and ready to eat. And so you can just open the bag and steam however many baby carrots you want. Another thing I've found helpful is, it can be on your phone or you can print it out ahead of time, is carrying any items that are high FODMAP, so you know what to avoid when you're at the grocery store. If you walk down the aisle and you say, oh wow, doesn't this bag of chips look delicious, and suddenly you read it and you discover the bag of chips has all these high FODMAP ingredients. Or you think, oh wow, watermelon, that looks delicious, I could make a watermelon salad. Unfortunately, watermelon is very high FODMAP. These are all things that, most magazines tell you, hey, this is really good for you, this will lower your cholesterol and this and that, and nobody takes into consideration that these are high FODMAP, and there is that population out there. And so now I am going to dice my carrots in preparation for steaming. And I like to cut them fairly thin because then when I steam them on medium heat, you know, 12 to 15 minutes, I like them very, very soft. This is a fair amount of carrots. These could probably easily feed a family of 4 to 5 even in a soup. I'm sure I'll have plenty left over. They were large carrots. But now what I'm going to do is come over to my stove. I just have a simple steamer pot. I have a steamer basket and the steamer lid. I go over, I fill up my steamer pot. And I'd say I fill the pot about a quarter way with hot water. I bring it over to my stove top and I turn it on. And then I wait about 5 to 7 minutes for the pot to start steaming before I put my carrots in. Okay, so now I hear my pot starting to sizzle. I remove the lid and I place my carrots into the pot. And like I said, this is gonna make more carrots than I'm probably gonna need to add to my 2 cans of soup and my diced chicken. But you know, you can have them left over the next day for lunch in a salad or anything like that. You know, you don't have to just have them all in your soup. They're very flexible. They can go into, you know, all sorts of dishes. You can even, if you have leftover carrots, mash them up and add a little oregano. You know, it makes a great little side. And then I'm gonna set my timer for probably, I would say, I'll start with 13 minutes and we'll see how that goes. Then while my carrots are cooking, I'll be chopping my chicken so that I'll have that ready too. Also, I find by sometimes even prepping meals ahead, if you've got, you know, a busy afternoon and you're trying to, you know, run errands or do activities with your kids, how easy is it on, you know, a fall or winter evening to come in and all you have to do is heat up the 2 cans of soup and add your already cooked carrot and your already cooked chicken into your pot and just heat it all up. It's super, super easy and quick, and it's so satisfying and so many vitamins and nutrients, you know, with the protein in the chicken and the carrots with all the vitamins and minerals that they contain. It's really, really easy to put together this dinner, and you've combined so many food groups, and I found it's a real family pleaser meal. Like, who doesn't love homemade chicken noodle soup? So I'm taking my leftover chicken from last night's dinner. We had done a whole roast chicken with butternut squash and a side of rice, and we had leftovers. So I'm just taking the leftover chicken to dice and put in my soup tonight. You can use chicken breasts or chicken tenders or chicken thighs, whatever you like. It's just important to, of course, make sure you're not putting any high FODMAP seasonings. A lot of toddler foods even have high FODMAP ingredients in them, which is what has forced me to go to finding just plain, simple, basic foods and cooking them up to become appetizing. And so you can see here, I've diced up my leftover chicken. I have a chicken leg here that I can cut some meat off of. And this will be fine with my carrots in the soup. And so now I've got my chicken all diced, you can see, and this is just ready to add into my soup tonight. Again, you can add as little or as much chicken according to how much your family likes and your family size. I'm going to be putting my chicken into the container for now because I'm going to heat it up in my soup after. Okay, now my carrots are have been steaming for approximately 13 minutes. So I'm going to remove the lid and I'm going to check to see how tender they are. And I just push on them a little. And they actually, you can see, have pierced fairly easily, telling me that they are fairly well done. I'm stirring them around a little to make sure the carrots on top are also easy to pierce with my fork. I turn off my burner and I'm going to pull the carrots aside to let them cool for a few minutes. You can see there's a lot of steam coming off of them before I put them into my dish and refrigerate them until it's time to add them to my soup at dinner time. Hi, so now I'm back. You can see my hair looks different from the beginning part of the video because I had so much time with prepping my soup ahead of time. I had time for a leisurely shower. You'll have time to, run the kids to sports or take care of, those extra emails because this was super easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chicken broth and my 2 cans of soup. Again, I'm going to be feeding a family of 3. And I'm going to walk over to my pot that I have out here. And I'm going to start by opening my can of soup. And I'm going to pour it into my pot. Super easy. And then I'm going to take my second can of soup, open it, pour it into my pot. And you'll notice there are some spices in this, but they're very minor and they're listed last. It's basically chicken stock, egg noodles, natural flavoring, chicken, that kind of thing. The very next to last ingredient is garlic. It's probably the tiniest bit of garlic seasoning. It does not upset my stomach at all, but just to be aware. And then I'm going to open my Swanson chicken broth. You can use water if you want. I like chicken broth just because it makes it slightly more flavorful. And I'll add 2 cans of chicken broth because you want to add 1 can of liquid for each can of concentrated soup. And you can use whatever brand of soup you like. I just happen to like Campbell's soup, but if you like Amy's or something else, that's fine. You can also substitute egg noodles and make your own. It's very flexible that way. Then I'm going to turn my burner on and my fan, and so then we're going to come over to our carrots over here, and I'm going to take them as well as my chicken that I diced up earlier, and I'm going to add them both to my soup. So I just pour the chopped chicken in, the carrots in, I take my spoon, I stir it all up. You can see it's beautiful. Very, very easy. Then I turn it to medium heat. I'm going to stir my soup frequently, probably for about 10 minutes, and test to see if it's the proper temperature. Okay, so now my soup's been heating for about 10 minutes. You can see it's steamy, and the delicious chunks of chicken and carrot and all the broth, and that is so aromatic and low FODMAP friendly. I mean, just so nutritious for a cozy fall supper. And so now we are going to plate our soup. Now I'm going to get some of that delicious broth. Just delicious. When you go to serve the soup, a lot of people like bread or crackers with theirs. What I find I like is sourdough bread. You can toast it, or you can have it plain. You can put olive oil, which is very heart healthy, or if you're not lactose intolerant, a little whipped butter. What's really nice about sourdough bread is it is fermented, so a lot of doctors will tell you it's much more gut friendly and easier for your stomach to break down. Another option that you can do if you don't want to do that, or you can add to it, I love these mochi sea salt snack bites. They're really tasty, they're crunchy, and they remain that way in the soup, and they're just delicious. And they're also gluten-free. And then for dessert, I know it's hard to find FODMAP-friendly desserts that are quick and simple. I love these True Fruit Nature's blueberries, lots of antioxidants. I know the blueberries are low FODMAP friendly, and a couple of them just hit the spot after dinner. So thank you for tuning in to my first video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it helpful, and I look forward to you watching my videos in the future. Bye for now.